Happy craft afternoon, everyone. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the United States and around the world. Today, we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to be doing some ink blending, and we're going to be using one of the new release products that we just released on last week, Tom, was it? Or I think so, last Thursday, which is the Holiday Silhouette stamp set. Now, lots of you already had this stamp set from the Crop and Create event that I did in October with SCT Magazine. But for those of you that didn't, we know a lot of you now have it, and it's on its way to you. And I wanted to show you a different ink blend using this stamp set. So I'm going to show you the one that I did in the class, and then we're going to try a different color combination today and see what we can come up with. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom.
Happy craft afternoon, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
We weren't ready, were we?
No, we weren't ready. Jeez.
We were just talking and getting carried away, talking about all kinds of things. And Tom looked up and he goes, "Oh my gosh, it's showtime." And I ran across. But how are you today, Tom?
I'm great. You know, we're having quite a week here.
We are.
Yeah.
Lots of exciting things going on around here. We're getting ready for another little release coming up next Tuesday night. We've got our illustrators release, and our illustrators will be with us with some really fun stamp sets. They're not Christmas themed or holiday themed. They are great stamp sets to make gift sets. So I'm really excited to share all of that with you. And what else are we working on, Tom? New machinery.
Yeah, we've got a new machine in the back to figure out. That's going well.
Yep.
It's going well for the moment.
Well, we will have more on all of that coming soon. Oh, thank you. My hair. Yes, I got my roots done from Rena, and we decided to go with a more rooted look this time. So I still have my blonde here, but it's a little darker at the roots. So, oh my goodness. So, every time I go, it's something new because my daughter's a hairdresser, so she gets to experiment on me. All right. Well, shall we get started with today's card?
Back in the dead space.
Back in the dead space.
All right. Welcome to all from around the globe. Yeah.
I know. We see everybody coming in. We love when you tell us where you're coming in from, too. It's really cool. Okay, so let's take a look at the card that I showed on release party night, and also the card that I made for the SCT class. So this card used lots of pinks and peach and things like that. I used peach Bellini. I used innocent pink. I used some wild lilac, and I used Tranquil Teal for this. So this is a really pretty sunset blend, but I want to make a card similar to this, and I want to do like a more deeper orangey color. And then I think I'm going to go brighter in the pink department, and then let's make the sky super dark like nighttime, and maybe we can add a little snow into the mix too. Wouldn't that be fun? So let's give that a try. And let's talk about how I made this card. Now, for those of you that didn't take the class, and I know a lot of you did, but a lot of you didn't, you might be looking at this saying, okay, how do I make this card? So for those of you who already saw it made, today is going to be fun because we'll add a little bit of snow, and we will use some different colors. And for those of you who haven't seen it made, this will be a good lesson today. So I'm going to take this circle die from Master Layout 7. This is just the plain circle, and that's what I made the moon out of. You can use any circle punch that you have, any circle die. You don't have to use Master Layouts 11. I'm using that, and if you already have that die set, then it's great because it's a really good size for this. But you know, you can use whatever you have, so don't worry about it. You can even hand cut a circle. Oh, and I wanted to show you how to hand cut a circle, like how to get it as a perfect circle. So what I would do is I would take something like embossing powder. It's just about the same size as this die, and you can put it onto some masking magic, which is this, what we're going to be using today. Take a pencil and just draw around the bottom. Let's see, I'll show you. I'll use an erasable pen here, but you know, just draw around the bottom. Doesn't have to be perfect because remember, this is a mask, so this isn't like on your card. And then you've got a circle, and you can just take your scissors and cut that out. So if you don't have a die or a punch, don't worry, you can just use something like that. And I'm sure you guys have embossing powder in your collection. All right, so for this one, we want to cut 2 pieces of masking magic into strips. This is a 3/4 of an inch strip. You can see from the top of that white down, it's 3/4 of an inch, and down here is 1 inch. Now this is curved, and as you can see, parts of the white show. If you don't want the white to show, you can actually stamp this design on your masking magic and cut the bottom to match that if you want the bottom to match perfectly. I kind of like that little bit of white showing because it feels like snow to me, so I'm not going to worry about that. But if I go from that white spot to the end, that is about 1 inch. So I need a piece of masking magic that measures at least 4 3/4 inches by 3/4 of an inch and 4 3/4 of an inch by 1 inch. And I'm going to go a little over that 4 3/4 because I want to extend it outside of this so that I don't get any ink anywhere on the sides. So I hope that makes sense to you. This is a good piece here that I had left over. You see how it goes a little bit outside, so that'll be perfect. And there's plenty of masking magic on here for me to cut those 2 strips. So I'll use this today, and then I need a small piece of masking magic to cut my circle out. And again, you can also do this with cardstock. If you don't have masking magic, you can just tape some cardstock across the top and the bottom, and then use a little bit of cardstock and maybe use some low-tack tape to tape that on there. You can even use Post-it note paper if that's all you have. But masking magic, in my opinion, is the bomb. It never tears the paper, and I just love that. So this will be super fun today. All right, so to cut these, I want to make sure that my masking magic starts at an even number, and it does here. It's at 3.5 inches. So if I want this first piece to be 3/4 of an inch, I just have to go down 3/4 marks. So that's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So I want to go to the 2 3/4 of an inch mark. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. So that's my first piece of masking magic, and let's just check it. Yep, that is the size that we want right there. Okay. All right. So then, does it look straight? Make sure that's straight. I think that looks fairly straight. Let me make sure my masking magic is straight because I may have cut this not straight, and I do want to make sure this is right. So this is about the same size. So when you're setting your masking magic up to be cut for the first time, it may not be at exactly a point that you want. So let's pretend this was at the 1/8 of an inch mark. Then I would take that down to a nice even number where it's easy for me to move it along. So there it is at 5 inches. I would just cut this off. You know me, I do so many masking magic techniques with strips. So I would, keep that for something else. and then go down to that 3/4 of an inch down from 5, which is 4 1/4. And yes, that looks very straight to me. So I must have cut this one wonky, but that's all right. I can make use of all of this. None of it will go to waste. So that's going to work there. And then I need that 1 inch piece. So it's at 4 1/4 now. I'll take it down to 3 1/4. That would equal an inch. Okay. So now I've got my 1 inch piece and my 3/4 of an inch piece. So now I'm going to get my die cutting machine. Let me get that. It's all the way over here on the floor. There we go. It is difficult sometimes to make a 1-layer card that like has enough pizzazz, right? And I think that, you know, if you can do some of that fun ink blending, it really is plenty. And this is super easy to mail because there's nothing on here that causes you to pay more postage. Nothing will tear, none of that. All right, so I'm going to cut a little circle here out of this Masking Magic. We'll get that done. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's Thursday. Okay. All righty. So now I have this piece ready to go. And I'm gonna just put this down here. I don't want to make anybody's ears hurt today. All right, so now it's time to line up the Masking Magic where we want it. So this is the part that you need to just take a little bit of time to do. You want to make sure that your Masking Magic goes all the way up to the edge. And if you want to take it a little over the edge, that's totally fine. And you want to make sure that it goes a little over the sides as well, because you don't want to get any ink, you know, any ink where you don't want it. All right. So Tom, you're keeping track of all the questions and stuff as we go, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, oh, I didn't know the split was there. That would have been easier to just open it there. Okay. So now it's harder for me to see here than it is for me to see here because I can see this edge. So I'm going to place this right on the edge here. Make sure it's even. And then I'm going to tape that down. I'm actually taping it down onto this piece of cardstock. Now I'm going to flip it around and do my bottom piece. Same thing. This Masking Magic splits on the back, depending on which way you cut it. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. Just going to line that up. Okay, looking good. Okay, and then I'm just going to dig my nail into the side there to make sure it's attached. Okay, so now I've got my top and my bottom piece. Now I want to add my moon. So you want to do the moon after because you want a little bit of ink, as you can see in this card, to get over the top of the moon. So you want to bring your moon down just a little bit onto this design. Okay, and also this seems really close, but remember, these images are going to stamp up over the moon. So that's totally fine. So if it looks weird to you, don't worry, you're doing it right. All right, so if you don't have a split in the back of your Masking Magic, just kind of fold it over and then it'll peel apart.
And the size of that cardstock?
So the piece of cardstock here measures 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch. All right, and then we'll just pop that moon on there. It can be anywhere. Maybe I'll go in just a little bit like that. Okie dokie. And make sure you press that down real well because you don't want ink to get under there. Okay, now it doesn't look like anything because it just looks all white to me, but we'll get started. So We're going to make this look like a sunset, right? Because we want the sky to look more like it's nighttime. And a lot of times when I look at a sunset, I look at the colors. I always look at the colors. And a lot of times they're really different colors. So you got to try all the combinations. Where this one looks like a sunset, I want this card to look darker, like it's more nighttime. There's less of a sunset. So I'm going to get my orange real close in here. And instead of using this light peach, I'm going to go with a more vibrant, fiery orange, which is Tangerine Twist. Okay. So I'm going to get my orange blending brush here. And I'm going to just check this brush because I don't know if I used something like tomato soup on it last time. It might be super dark. That looks a little tomato soupy to me. Welcome, everyone. I see people coming in from all over. It's great to see you. Can you put back the glue side to the backing? You mean, can you save this masking magic and put it back on here? You definitely can. Or if you use these pieces a lot to make this card, you can just stick them onto your stamp sheet so you can always find them. Okay, so I'm going to ink up this brush with some tangerine. And then I'm going to go real close to the edge here with tangerine. So that means I'm going to start on the masking magic down here. I just want to bring that tangerine up a little bit. I don't want to go too high up there. But I want it to be really vibrant right along the bottom. So I'm putting a little pressure right along the bottom. Okay. So remember, this is going to look like a mess before it looks good. And I'm hoping that it looks good. I'm always worried. Okay, so I think we got enough orange there, but we won't put this away just in case we need it again. Now, I'm going to add a little passionate pink in there. This one scares me a little bit. We could do a bubble gum or something light like that, but again, I want this to be really vibrant, so we're going to go with the passionate pink. I'm a little nervous. All right, I'm going to just kind of start here, coming in from the side, real light-handed and going right over that orange. Now, why am I using pink? Well, because I need something that's going to blend with the blue and not create a brown. And pink is going to give me more of a nice blend. It's going to turn into a dark purple. Yes, I will come back to that sample card and give you all the color listing again. So I'll give that to you so you can be ready with a pen. I'll give you all the colors for that one. If I went blue right into the orange, there would be a little bit of brown, but this is going to give me more, this is going to give me more of a purple hue when they blend together. Does she have a hue? All right, so now I'm going to use blue denim next. And the blue denim, I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. Have you ever kept another piece of cardstock next to you so you can blend extra color off and that way have another card started? You know, Sue, I haven't done that because when I do wipe the brush off, it's always too heavy for me and doesn't make a nice blend. So, I mean, I guess it would be pretty. I think maybe if I could blend it like over some emboss resist or something, that would probably be a good idea. So maybe I'll keep that in mind for another time. All right, I'm going to clean this off because this has a lot of dark on it. All right, so I'm starting with blue denim, and then I'm going to add navy right at the top. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start up here, nice light hand. Okay. All right, here we go. Nice light hand. Going across. And then working my way down into that pink. I really want to go into the pink. You see how it's turning purple? Right where the pink is. I don't want to get too much onto the orange. I'm coming back up here. Now I'm increasing the pressure because I got most of that color off of my brush. So now I can really, really increase the pressure and get that blue to be even darker, especially up here at the top. I think this is going to be a really pretty blend, guys. I'm excited. Okay. I know it looks like a hot mess right now, but I'm telling you, it's going to look good. Now I'm going to go back with that pink brush. I'm not putting more pink on there, but I'm going to go over that line between them because I want to add more pink in there because I want it to be a little bit more purple. And you see how it's starting to get a little more periwinkle up there? See that in there? It's more periwinkle. Okay. Now I'm going to go back with a little more blue denim. Just going to brush a little of that off and get even a little darker up here. Nice big strokes going across. Okay. There we go. Now let's add that in the navy. So we're going to go really dark now, right along the top. And you can even bring in some black if you want. You could bring black in like around the edges if you want. But let's go with the navy. Now I'm going to, let me see what that's dark. Okay, here we go. Getting the navy in there. Ooh, yeah. Now I'm going to curve this navy around just a little bit. Okay. See how it's getting darker and darker at the top? Ooh, that night sky. Okay. One more time, a little bit right along the very top. So you can see when you're doing ink blending like this, it's not a race. So you don't want to like just try to get all that color down just with one pass. Go over it several times to get that color blend that you want. Okay. Now let's take all this paper off and see what we have. I do want to make sure my hands are clean because if you've got ink on your fingers and you start pulling this off, you may transfer ink. So just, make sure your hands are clean. Mine look pretty clean, so I think I'll be okay. So I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to start down here at the bottom and pull this off. Okay, now I'm going to pull this off. And remember, it's inky. So, all right, there we go. And now I'm going to remove the moon. So I'm going to bend it a little bit and get my nail under there. Okay, there we go. So there is our night sky. And you can see it's considerably different look than this one, right? Considerably different. So for those of you that were wondering what these colors are, I've got Peach Bellini, Innocent Pink. I'm waiting for you to write it down. Peach Bellini, Innocent Pink, Wild Lilac, Tranquil Teal. Okay, there we go. All right, so now this one, Tangerine Twist, Passionate Pink, Blue Denim, and then In the Navy right at the top. I know that twilight look is really neat, huh? Now, one thing I should have done is if I wanted to do the ink splatter, I probably should have left the Masking Magic on there. But I also don't want to stamp over paint. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp all my stamping stuff first. And then I think I might just rest some Post-it notes over this and then add a little snow splatter. Does that sound like a plan? We'll give it a try. I've never done that before, so I don't know. But here's what I was talking about. So if you think, okay, I like this, I want to do this again later, You can save these and just tape them right to your stamp sheet so that that's a color blend that you can use again. And you can place those back on your card and use those same colors. If you don't want to do that, somebody suggested that you might be able to put them back on the backing sheet, and I think that's pretty good. That will work okay. And then you could maybe have a little box of Masking Magic strips and shapes that you can go pick. The thing you don't want to do is you don't want to reuse this with totally different colors, because even though this is dry and it's not transferring, when you hit it with another color, another blending brush, it's going to reactivate this a little bit, because this isn't porous paper. It's non-porous. So it's going to activate it a little bit, and you're going to mix some of the blue in there. So let's say you wanted to do this same card and make a daytime sunshine scene, and you wanted the sky to be real orange up here instead of blue. Well, you would do orange and blue, and you would start blending, and you would get brown. So try to stick with the same colors when you're using the Masking Magic, which shouldn't be hard, because once you see that, you're going to want to make that again, right? Right. I'll answer for you. Okay, so I'm going to get my Misty. Anytime I do silhouette stamping, I have to use my Misty. I'm not good without my Misty with the silhouette stamps. And if you don't have the Misty corners, I think it's a great investment for you. So down the line, you might want to pick this up. It just pulls your card away from the edge. And let me show you why that's important. Okay, because if I have this right up here and I want to lay this stamp on top, you see how it's going to go off the edge? I can't, like, it's going to be stuck on the side of my Misty. I'm not going to be able to close my door. But if you use a Misty corner, then it pulls the cardstock away from the edge. And then when you lay your stamp down there, your stamp is going to be within the mat. Now, if you don't have a Misty corner, don't worry about it. Just use some tape on the back here and tape it down to your Misty so that it doesn't move, because you're probably going to need to stamp this more than once because it's a silhouette stamp. So it's not a bad idea anyway. And, you know, if you're worried about it, you know, and you don't want it to move, even with the corner in there, you can take a little bit of Masking Magic, just cut a little strip of it, and you can tack down your cardstock with Masking Magic so you don't have to worry about it tearing, right? So you could do that and tape it into place. So Masking Magic is really great for all of that stuff. Sometimes the magnet gets in the way or it's in the wrong spot. So Masking Magic is a nice help for that. All right, so now we're going to start by stamping our village. And I want to have some of that white showing. I like the white showing in different areas, so I'm not worried about it. But again, if you're worried about it, you can stamp this whole thing, you know, pretty much any way that you want. You can ink blend by cutting that same shape. So let's bring this down a little bit like this. I want to get the whole scene in there. And I am bringing it down a little bit low. You could bring it higher if you want, but I think that's going to look really nice. Maybe I'll bring it up just a hair, like about there. So my goal is to kind of line it up so that you get the entire village. All right. So this is all staying in place. Now, this stamp has been primed and conditioned, and I've used it so many times that it takes ink pretty well now. But like any clear stamp, when you're talking about big surface areas like this, or like the new poinsettia stamp, this one here, you know, I had to really prime these, and I have to stamp them a couple of times to get them super solid. That's why the Misty is such a benefit. I don't sell the Misty. I just like the Misty. Okay, so I'm going to use my black Onyx ink, and I'm going to ink this up. Now, I totally primed this stamp so many times, but because it's so big, it's still going to be a little bit sparse the first time. It's just, you know, you just can't get it juicy enough. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that. And I like to use my Chucky tool. If you don't have a Chucky tool, just use your sleeve because it makes it glide over easier. Okay. Now you can see it looks good, but not good enough. So I'm going to give it a second stamping. But isn't that cute? Don't you love the color? I love that color.
That would be cool with mountains too.
It would be super cool with mountains. Okay, let's do one more. We'll really get it nice and dark. Welcome everyone who's just joining us. I see people still coming in. It's great to see you. Okay, so I feel like that's nice and vibrant. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay. Now, some people say prime your stamps with a nail file. Please don't do that. That'll definitely ruin your stamps. It'll put scratch marks in your stamps that you're always going to see in the ink. You can use an eraser to erase over the surface. Just don't use a mono sand eraser because that's scratchy and we don't want to scratch up our stamps. They just won't stamp smooth if you scratch them up. You can also use a little Versamark first on the stamp to help it take ink a little bit better. And of course, I always, when it's a new stamp, I just rub my thumbs over the entire thing to get rid of some of that residue. You can almost feel it when the stamp is brand new. All right, so now this would be a really cute card. If you didn't want a Christmas card, it'd be a really cute card for just welcome to the neighborhood, right? The black color that I'm using is Gina K Designs Black Onyx. Okay, but I want to make it a Christmas card, so I'm definitely going to use the Santa. I saw somebody use the Santa die that we had with this, and it looks amazing. But I want to use a little Santa this time, so I'm going to have him just flying up in the air. Okay, like that. Going across the moon. We can bring him down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so he's in place. And again, this little guy, you want to definitely prime the stamp. And we'll stamp it a couple times so that we get the black to match perfectly. So cute. I'm going to do it one more time because I did the other ones 3 times. So what do you think of this color combo? Do you like it? And you notice with Gina K Designs ink, even though it kind of looked blotchy when I first put it on, see how it's just smoothing out all by itself? It does have a blending agent in it. Now, that being said, it's not going to change and fix every problem. So if you're struggling to ink blend and you just got here, watch the video again, at least the ink blending part, because a big key to my success with ink blending is not going too heavy. I'd rather layer color over color over color to get it darker than try to get all the color on at once. That's just going to create blotchiness. So doing it in layers makes a huge difference. Okay, so now we could do peace, love, and joy. That would be so cute. Ooh, let's do that. I also like this happy holidays, but I want this to be more of a Christmas card. So, I mean, that would be a Christmas card too, but you know what I'm saying. I want it, the peace, love, and joy is got more Christ in the Christmas than the happy holidays, is a little more generic. And you know, if you want a more generic look and you want this card to be nice for everybody, not just the, you know, people that celebrate Christmas, you could leave off the Santa and just do the snow and put happy holidays down here. And then it would be a more generic style card. Okay, so you guys know my trick. I'm going to show it to you again because I always do. We want to make sure, you know what? I'm going to take this whole thing out of here because when it comes to the greeting is always the scary part for me. So I definitely want it up in the corner of the Misty. I'm going to clean this little spot off here so I don't lean into it. And sometimes it's hard with clear stamps to see if you are, straight, if the stamp looks straight, because it's clear. I mean, you can see through it, but still, I never know if it's perfectly straight. So my little trick, if you're new to Gina K Designs and you haven't seen this before, what I do is I take the index sheet off of my stamp set and I lay it right on top of my card. You can see I've done this before because you can see that little happy holiday shadow there. And then I stamp it on the index sheet first. And I just look at it to make sure that it looks straight. And that looks pretty straight to me. Does that look straight to you, Tom? Or does it look like it's going downhill a little bit?
From here, it looks good.
Yeah? I'll stamp it a second time. Maybe we can get it a little darker on the index sheet. So how does that look? I think it looks more straight. Let's see. Yep, looks good. Okay. All right. So people think it looks good. I'm going with you guys on this one. I'm going to clean my index sheet off here because I want to put it back on my stamp set. And now I feel like we've tested it, so we know it's going to look good. You think it's going downhill? Yeah, maybe. That's what I was thinking too. Okay. So, I gotta look at it again here. Might look a little downhill. Boy, it's lined up perfectly on the line too. Might be just a hair downhill. So I'm gonna move it on here and we'll test it again. After you go through all that ink blending work, you don't want it to go downhill. Like, really, you don't want it to. So you can just test it. You can curve it. Yeah, you could definitely curve the greeting to kind of match the curve of the snow hill. I think that looks better. I just notched it up a little bit on this side. And I think the hill could be a little distracting too. So let's go ahead and stamp it. And if it looks crooked after I stamp it, then I'm just going to hold the card at an angle for the rest of the live. Okay. So, okay, here we go. Wish me luck. Here we go. It's probably not exactly in the center either. That looks pretty good. I like it. It looks good. Okay. Good enough. Better than horrible. Okay, second time. Okay, there we go. So we've got peace, love, and joy. Pretty good. Pretty good, right? I'll hold it this way. Doesn't that look straight? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can look at the bottom and the side and the top and the corner and everything, and it doesn't always work, right? Just sometimes you have those moments, but it's okay. So let's back this onto some black onyx. No, actually, let's add our snow to this because I really do want to add some snow. So I'm just going to take a little bit of cardstock because I've got scraps of cardstock all over the place. Let me find a little scrap of something. Where are all my scraps? Oh, all right, here's one. Here's a scrap that I don't know what happened to that, but I'm going to cut a piece. Cut a piece that measures like 5.5 inches by 1 inch. Oh my goodness, look at this thing. All right, so we're going to do maybe I'll do like 1.5 inches because then I can tack it all down really well. Okay, that'll be good. That's going to go on the bottom. And I'll do one that's like 1.5 inches here for the top. Okay, so I've got a couple pieces of cardstock here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get just a little masking magic. I've got a strip laying around here, a Masking Magic strip, just like a piece of a strip that I was cut off for something else. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to just kind of tack that down into place here so it doesn't move. Make sure it's nice and flat. Here we go. And then I'm just going to block off some of this. I think I'll block it off to right about there. I don't think it's going to matter all that much, but I'll use a little washi tape for this because I don't care if this, you know, tears. It's just a scrap piece of paper. And then I'm going to block this part off up here because I don't want my white paint to go all over. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to get some white paint. Now I have this paint right here. This is just paint that I picked up actually at Target. It's just a white acrylic paint. But you know what, Tom? Will you give me a cup of water? Just a little water in this. Oh no, I have water. Never mind. I have water. I have water in my distress sprayer. So this is a gross cup here that I use for paint all the time. And I'm going to put a little water in here. Okay. We have more of these stamp sets coming back in stock. I can't believe how many people love this stamp set. I thought most of you had it because you took the class, but we've got more of them on the way. I know that. All right, and then I'm going to get an acrylic block just because I'm going to mix a little white paint here. So, yeah, I didn't clean the edge of my paint. Now, if you don't have white paint, you're not out of luck. Maybe you have some white pigment ink, and you could use the re-inker. Now, I want this to be very light. I don't want this to be like super bright white. So I'm going to add a bunch of water into it because I really want to thin it out. So I'm adding a bunch of water. Okay. And then I always like to test it first on a piece of scrap paper. So I've got a little piece of paper here that I can test it on. I'm just going to lay it right on top to test it. And then I like to take an acrylic block just to tap it on, and then I just tap it like that, and you can see it makes a little bit of a splatter. So I like the way that looks, and that's what we're going to go with. So we'll get our paint here, and then we'll just do a little splatter here. Almost makes like a starry sky. Oh, that's so cool. You know, and the lighter you tap it, the tinier they get. Oh, I like that. A lot. A lot. Okay. So now I have white paint everywhere, including all over me. I'm going to just get that water and clean that up right away so it doesn't ruin my table. Get that off. It dries really quickly because it's tiny, and you can see how pale that's getting. It's like lightening up quite a bit because I mixed it with a ton of water. I didn't want to take away from the design itself. Look at me, I'm a mess. So I just wanted it to be really light and just give it a little texture, a little bit of snowy texture. Now, if you want yours brighter than that, by all means, go for it. Make it brighter. All right. I'm trying to clean all the words, all the peace, love, and joy off of my fingers. I don't think it's going to go away. Okay, and then we'll just pull this off. And that just gives you a little bit of snowy texture in there. Get the Masking Magic off of there. And you can see. So that could be snowy texture. That could be just a starry sky. But it's just very, very light. Just very peaceful, right? Doesn't it just give you that feeling of peace? And of course, you can use these again too, so you don't have to get rid of those. They're easy to find because they've got white speckles all over them. So I'll put those off to the side. All right, so now we're going to complete this card. And I'm going to get a piece of black cardstock. Oh my gosh, I can't pick it up. I'm so terrified of what's on my fingers. I need a piece of black cardstock. I go through black cardstock like nobody's business. I know, that's not shocking, is it? Okay, so this card measured 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So you could use the Master Layouts 2 die set to cut the black panel, or you could just cut it with a paper cutter at 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. The old-fashioned way. And we're going to mount those together. I like this one. I like the way this turned out. I didn't know that if I was going to like it, you know, being so dark with all the dark, but it really feels like nighttime. Where this one, this feels like, you know, 8 o'clock at night. This feels like 6:30. All right. And maybe even like different parts of the country and different parts of the world. You know, up north more. This feels like more north. It feels more like Wisconsin at night, where the other one feels a little bit like Florida at night. Okay, so we've got that on there. And now I think that we're going to just add a white card base. I don't want to take away from all the beautiful ink blending here. So we'll add a white card base. Okay. So I'm going to cut that at 5.5 inches, and I'm going to score that at 4 1/4 inches. I think I like this color combination better. Oh, we didn't do a word of the day. Tom.
All right.
Do you have a word of the day? That's right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Let me see. Okay, so you know when you're in a room with somebody and
I want to see you.
And they have headphones on and they start to sing along, but you can't hear the music. And most of the time, if somebody's singing along, you actually sing pretty well with headphones on. I probably don't, but there's a name for that. It's out there. This isn't. I came across this in my travels. But you know how you sing a cappella?
Yes.
And a cappella means with no background?
Yes.
So if you hear somebody singing with headphones and you don't hear the music and it sounds really bad, that's known as a cappella. A cappella. Word of the day. Back in the dead space.
Oh my gosh. Acapella. Crapella. I like it. Good word. Funny word. Okay, and I'm just adding that onto the white card base, and there my card is complete. I don't think that this card needs anything else. I don't think it needs rhinestones or sequins or anything like that, but if you wanted to do something like that, you could use the tiniest sequins. I'm just going to lay a few on here. I'm not going to adhere them because I just kind of don't think that it needs it, but if you wanted it, you could like mix in a few of the really tiny little disco ball sequins like that, just to add a little sparkle and shine, and maybe it would kind of feel a little bit like more snow. But honestly, a card like this, I feel like it's almost better leaving it just simple. So again, this color combination is Tangerine Twist, Passionate Pink, Blue Denim, and in the navy. And this one is Peach Bellini, Innocent Pink, Wild Lilac, and Tranquil Teal. All right. Yeah, I agree. Like some of them just don't need anything. They're ready to just put in the mail. And remember, with holiday cards, I think the post office is a little bit pickier this time of year when they're trying to when they're doing the cards through the machine. And when you get the rhinestones and the pearls and the sequins, they're beautiful, but they get caught up in the machine. So you really have to pay more for a hand cancel stamp. And this one, you don't have to pay more. It just goes right in, right in for just the cost of a one forever stamp. All right. Okay, Tom. Well, we're going to give this card away.
Okay, the size of that layer again?
Okay, so this is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches, and then 3 5/8 by 4 7/8 for the black, and then just an A2 card base. So the card stock is just white cardstock. It's Gina K Designs. I'm using layering weight white card base right now because we're out of our heavy base weight white. Plus, when I do videos, it lays very flat because it's thinner. And you could certainly use that because it's beautiful and it will still stand up nice because it's not a heavy card. So you can use our layering weight white too for a card like this.
All right.
Okay, so Tom, let's give this card away.
All right. Big drum roll for the card giveaway. Patty Clancy, this card is yours.
Yay, Patty! Congratulations! All right, Patty, all you have to do is send your name and address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and I will get this card right out to you. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope you enjoyed the technique, and you'll give it a try. Maybe you got the kit. Oh, and I did want to remind you that our card kit, the holiday cheer with the little houses that you get for free, that die set, that kit is going to be discontinued as of Friday. So if you didn't get it yet, make sure you grab it because it's such a good deal. You can use the little houses to do a similar card like this. You can use the Santa die to do a similar card like this. This is really all about the ink blending. Kind of gives a Northern Lights feel to it too. I just feel like Northern Lights are in there. But all right, so I hope you enjoyed this technique and I hope you'll give it a try. Now, Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with our release party. Our illustrators are going to be joining us. We've got some new stamps and dies coming for you, and I think you're going to really like what we have on tap. I'll be back this weekend with another 5-minute card video, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, everybody, stay safe and healthy. We love you so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.